Hi Shashikant, how are you? Hello, Shashikant, how are you?
Yeah, yeah, fine. Yeah,
Okay, great. So can you tell me something about yourself?
yeah. This is Shashikant. I have a 3.5 experience in both manual and automation testing. And coming to my roles and responsibilities as a idea of my automation tester, my day starts with daily mails. I mean, we have a stand call every morning. There will check all the mails regarding that mails, which is the priority, which is the severity. As the test manager, the test lead will discuss about that. Based on the priority, I will assign the tester manager will assign the task and will the respective test cases and test as according to the requirement. And after that, we prepare the scripts according to the requirement. And this is the daily part of my life. And after the completing the day, we will actually involved in the e-commerce and travel domain. As a part of e-commerce domain, we will get the sprint tasks every month. Okay, so we will involve the client requirement meeting with oops team and developers, managers, everything. So after getting the final conclusion of the requirement, we'll prepare the test cases and test scenarios. So whenever the developers give the sprint task to the testing team, we will do the testing. And suppose if any issues are fine, we will assign to the developers. So in this process, so whenever the developers issue fix the issues, in these situations, we will prepare the test scripts for regression testing. So it will reduce the time required. So after the complete the retesting, we will do the regression testing, right? So manually, it is a more time-taking process. So for this for situation, we will prepare the test scenario test scripts. So after that, if after the default percentage is zero, we will provide the sign off to production after getting the approval from CEO and test lead. So I have involved automation tools like Selenium, Java, and I will follow the POM framework using TestNG for priority for test cases, and we followed the Maven for continuous integration, continuous deployment,
You follow
and
Maven for? Sorry, you follow Maven for?
continuous for integrating to Jenkins.
Okay, you use Jenkins, that is a CI/CD
Yeah,
tool for
yeah,
continuous integration. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
and I know about I have basic knowledge on APM and Selenium Grid, and I have some experience on Jenkins.
On Jenkins also. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So how many test cases do you automate every day?
It's based on the complexity. Daily, approximately, I can automate five to
Mhm.
six test cases.
Okay, so test cases. So 5 to 6 test cases when you say, so
Yeah, yeah,
each,
yeah. In this test case also, I mean, suppose if any test case is same test cases, I will reuse it. Yeah,
right, right.
I can write more scripts. I mean, I can write more methods if this
Hmm.
happens.
Hmm. Okay, fine. So, when you say you are automating 5 to 6 test cases, definitely you are consuming the code that is been already written. You will be reusing that code, right?
Yeah,
But uh, it was a good answer. Yeah, it depends on the complexity also. But every test case will have its own test steps. You
yeah,
might be taking the test cases from Zephyr or maybe from Jira. All the test cases will have their own test steps, right? So when you say 5 to 6 test cases, so are you covering all the test steps also in that?
yeah. I'm following every test steps in the every method.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay, fine. Okay. So how do you keep the automated test suite different of a regression from the regression perspective and from the smoke perspective?
Yeah, suppose in our e-commerce project, we need to run the automation scripts for every morning. For
Mm,
that, we prepare the test suite. For in production environment, we need to run the UI scripts.
mm,
So for that, we prepare the test suite. In that, all the classes who have um, info involved in it. It is like smoke testing. It is like regression testing. We will do the
mm,
for smoke
mm.
testing. We will prepare. We will include another test ng suite.
Okay. And how do you find out that how much is the test automation coverage in your project? Mm,
Yeah, it's actually actually we will cover the test cases according to the smoke. I mean, suppose the main functionality we will cover in the automation scripts.
Sorry, can you please
So
come again? Yeah.
we will cover the main functionality. So main what suppose smoke testing test cases we will more
Hmm.
involved in the automation scripts.
Okay. So main functionality you will cover, but let's say
Yeah,
you have a big application in
yeah,
which you are performing manual as well as automation testing. Now, the
yeah,
management or your QA manager needs to prepare the report that what is the test automation coverage that you have in this project. So, how do you determine that?
yeah. I determine by mm, suppose take it as an example of e-commerce. We
Mm,
prepared 52 scenarios. Okay, for every scenario we have prepared the test kit for that.
mm,
Like it is like suppose take an example like shipped one scenario is shipped full deliver, full cancel, partial cancel. Like that 52 kind scenarios you have prepared this. It is like it covered the approximately 50 to 50% in e-commerce project.
mm, mm, mm. Okay. See, if you are getting this question in a real-time interview, then the best thing is to go via traceability matrix. In a
Yeah,
traceability matrix, you will have list of all the requirements. Those would be mapped with the test case IDs. So every requirement ID would be mapped with maybe single or multiple test case IDs. And you can have one more column in the requirement traceability matrix, whether you have automated that particular test scenario or not. You can also have one more column that whether those test cases are actually feasible for automation or not. It might happen that there are 1,000 test cases in your suite, for example, and out of that, 800 are feasible for automation, 200 are not feasible for automation, right? Then out of 800, if you have covered 400 test cases for automation, you have automated test scripts ready for 400 test cases. That means you have
yeah,
nearly 50% of coverage. Is it clear?
yeah.
Hmm? Okay, great. Fine. So can you tell me the different coding standards that you are following while creating automated test scripts?
Yeah, different coding standards means
Hmm.
we follow page object model. I mean,
Hmm.
we followed I mean in the page model we included the data term framework and the keyword driven framework and
Hmm.
and we and in our coding level we I mean we didn't hard code the I mean we given the all the test data in the excel sheet and the locators in the different test class.
Yeah, so that is fine, the framework that you are following, but which are the best practices, which are the best coding standards that you would be following as an automation engineer?
I mean
Hmm.
we didn't we should didn't hard code the small we didn't hard code the things.
Correct,
It
correct.
should be
Yeah.
it should be dynamically executed. Suppose whenever the other tester execute the script, it should be he need to change the URLs only, and the script
Hmm.
should be go on. He should not change the code.
Then what else?
And the test script should be more understandable to the other user. It
Hmm.
should be linear. It should be linear.
Okay. See, I'll show you a few of the things that you can tell in your answer. Let me share my screen. Okay, is the screen visible to you?
Yeah,
Hmm. So see, the very first thing is that you will be following proper naming conventions for classes, files, packages, functions, variables, right? So whenever you, let's say, create a variable in Java, Selenium, right? So you are naming it very properly. For example, variable is, um, let's say, finance kind of a variable, right? So f will be small. If you are using second word in the same variable, then that should be coming in the capital. You'll be optimizing your code. If you are going for one assertion in your test script, then you can go for hard asserts. If you are going for multiple assertions, then go for soft assertions, and make sure at the end you are writing soft assertion dot assert also. That is the statement, right? So as to ensure that all the assertions are being covered in the script. And once you
Yeah.
write this soft assertion dot assert all last statement, after that your code should end, right? Then directly the next, I would say, the scenario should start, right? Then you will do proper exception handling. So you will use try catch mechanism. You will use retry blocks as and when necessary, right? Don't use hard coded values. So I think you covered that point. So that was a good thing. So you don't have to use hard coded values. Then you'll remove all the commented code. Sometimes, what happens is we comment few of the code and we keep it intact in our framework. So that thing we have to remove. Do not use thread.sleep at all, right? Then, right? Also, you have to refer to the documentation as and when required. So any updates are coming so that you are aware about those updates, right? You have to add
Yeah.
proper comments. You have to ensure that you implement a proper code review process, right? What is a code review process? So we'll come to that question also. Then in case of BDD framework, you should have a keyword library document. For example, I have already created, let's say we both are working in a team, and we are working on the automation of different features. So I have created keywords of login functionality. You are creating automation or keywords of search functionality for BDD framework in the form of given when then, right? Then definitely for automating search functionality, you will have to use login functionality. So you will be reusing my keywords. So how you will come to know that I have already created keywords? Because there is a keyword kind of a library documentation, keyword library that we would be creating. You will be reusing those same keywords for your automation, right? So that there is, in this way, we avoid duplicacy of creating keywords for multiple functionalities or duplicating the keywords for the same functionality, right? Then we have to
Yeah.
use relative XPath. If you have ID, then go for ID. If you don't get ID, go for relative XPath. Don't use absolute XPath. Don't use classes. Don't use much of the text kind of things, right? Then use proper comments. So let's say sometimes if there is a automation feature that you are taking care and that includes some kind of calculation. So it's better to have those kind of calculation in the form of comment section itself, so that anyone who is going through the code will come to know, okay, this is how we have to document, this is how this is what the code has been written for, right? So
Okay.
that's one of the aspect, right? So these are few of the coding standards that we should follow, and you can answer these things. These would be followed in your automation projects.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, now tell me about the code review process. Let's say if you write any code, and how does it get merged into the production branch? What is the process for that?
Yeah. After preparing the scripts, actually, we will share the, and we have a network path. We will keep the respective classes in the network path, and the TL will import into her Eclipse. He will check the all the lines of code. So based on that, she will review and get back to the mail what are the changes to be done. This is the part of my code review process in our organization.
Mm-hmm.
So after the changes done, after the everything is okay, um, we will import to the Git, and same thing will happen to Jenkins integration or Azure
Okay.
DevOps.
Okay. So which version control tool you are using?
Which version control regarding?
Hmm. Regarding for automation, which version control tool you are using?
You mean Selenium version you are asking?
No, no, like version control. So let's say we both are working in one project, right?
Yeah.
And you would be creating a code. I also would be creating a code. And then you would be pushing your code. I will also be pushing my code. And then it would be getting reviewed. So there is a tool that are used for these purpose, like Git is there, version control is there.
Yeah.
We will be creating our own branches, and then those branches would be getting reviewed, and then it would be pushed into the production. So which version control tool you are using?
Yeah, we don't use any version control tool
Oh,
actually.
okay. Then it's a risky thing, right?
Yeah.
Because let's say you are also working on one kind of code. I am also working on another code, but I might be reusing some of the common code, right? So for example, in a framework, we have got a common controls classes in which we have written the methods to click on a button, or to select the radio button, or to check the checkbox, or to enable the radio button, sorry, or to perform the clicks in the table, right? So those are common methods. Then there will be pages also. Again, we'll be reusing those pages. Now, there are chances when you push the code, and I am also contributing to the same code, or I am also reusing, then there might be conflicts that might come up, because
Yeah.
we both are working in the same project. Sorry. So that's why we use version control tools, right? And you can use Git, you can use Bitbucket, you can use SVN, right? These are the tools that I use for version controlling. And one more good aspect of using version control tool is, let's say you are automating the feature in the test environment. Okay. Now
Yeah.
there is a release in the production environment, and you have to run the automated test in the production environment. But in your code repository, in your machine, you have already done changes as per the feature changes that have come in the test environment, which is still under testing, right? But that feature is not there in the production environment. So this code will not work there,
Yeah.
right? So that's why we go for version controlling. Fine. So now let's go to the next question. Okay. Uh, how do you handle security in Jenkins?
Security.
Hmm.
Sorry, I mean not aware of that much deeply
Okay.
in Jenkins.
No
Yeah.
worries. No worries. So let me answer this question. So see, there are various mechanisms to handle security in Jenkins. One is the user authentication, right? So you can configure the Jenkins to authenticate users. You can use Active Directory. You can use LDAP, or you can also use external identity providers like OAuth, SAML, right? Then authorization. You can create a role-based, user-based permissions, right? Metrics-based authorization, that this particular, you can create policies that this particular user would be able to access this particular pipelines. This particular user would be able to access this particular permissions or groups, those kind of things. And project level security is also available, that for a specific user, they should be only able to, for example, there are multiple projects in your company. One is based on e-commerce, one is based on investment banking, one is based on um, let's say financial thing, right? Then a group of people would be able to access their own pipelines or Jenkins jobs which are pertaining to only investment banking. Next group of people would be able to access the finance based projects, domains projects. Then the third group of people would be able to access only e-commerce based projects or pipelines, right? So those are kind of project level security. Then plugin level security. So you can also have security with respect to plugins also, that this particular plugins would be accessed by this particular group of people, right? Or users. So that's how you can handle security in Jenkins.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's move to the next question. How do you choose test cases for automation?
Yeah, I will choose test cases for, I mean, suppose it is based on the priority only. Suppose after preparing the test cases, we will assign the priorities. Like it is suppose if it is a suppose and whenever there is an e-commerce application, we need to place an order. It is like first priority. So for that, based on the priority, we will prepare the script further. Later, we will go for low priority.
Mm-hmm. So do you discuss with anyone before taking decision of doing automation or not?
Yeah, we will discuss with TL. So these are the priorities. These we need to cover in automation. So
Hmm.
based on the confirmation from the TL, we will go for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now, can you tell me in Selenium, how will you scroll to a particular element?
We will use scroll to web element based on the dimensions. Suppose whenever suppose in the footer page we need to check the link is displayed or not. We
Mhm.
will use scroll to web element, or you can use JavaScript executor to get a more.
Correct, correct. You can use
Yeah,
JavaScript executor also. So can you
yeah,
write a high level code of how will you scroll to some particular element in Selenium? So
yeah.
I'm giving you screen sharing rights. You can click on share screen button, the green color button.
Am I screen visible?
Yeah, it's loading. Yeah, it's visible. Yeah, can you maximize this screen? Yeah, can you maximize? Yeah. Yeah, so you can open Eclipse IDE. Yeah, you have to write the code for scrolling to an element in Selenium.
Yeah. We can use scroll to web element, or we can use scroll to view, or by using arguments.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, what will you do to ensure that you are able to scroll to that element even if it is not initially visible.
Sorry?
So let's say you have to scroll to some particular element which is not
Yeah,
initially visible. So what would you do for that?
we can use scroll down in this place. We can use
Mm,
scroll down with respect to dimensions. So later that this JavaScript executor will go to that
mm. Okay. See, let me share with you the solution. I'll stop your screen sharing. See, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah,
Hmm. So let's say this is the code. Okay. So in an interview, if you don't write this import statements, this is fine, right? So you have to explain this particular code in an interview. Okay. So what we are doing here is we are scrolling to an element, right? So let's take any of the website, and then we'll create the element to scroll to that particular element. Right now, you can also do scrolling using JavaScript. Right. So why we are going for JavaScript is, see, I'll tell you, using JavaScript approach, you would be able to scroll to the element which is not initially visible also. So this is how you will do scroll into view, right? So you'll pass some arguments, and you'll use the scroll into view method. So first is scroll to that element, and then you'll use js.execute script. So this is the scroll to element using JavaScript. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So see, this is the code explanation. You can replace. Okay. So this is the website, any URL you can use. And in an interview also, they'll give you any of the website, right? And then this is the method that will take the WebDriver instance and the web element as the arguments, right? Now, inside the scroll to method, you have to cast the WebDriver instance to the JavaScript executor, and you have to use the execute script method to execute the JavaScript code. So this is typecasting that you are doing. Okay. Now, what you will do is you'll use JavaScript code arguments here, right? So it will scroll the element into the center of the viewport itself, right? So even if it is not visible, you are able to scroll. So initially it is not visible, right? When you land to that page, it is not visible because you have to scroll, right? So you can use this particular approach for scrolling to that particular element.
okay.
Hmm? Okay, now let's go with the next question. Which are the different locators that you are using in your automation project?
Sorry,
Which are the different locators that you are using in your automation project?
we have used mainly we will use ID, look, ID, class
Hmm.
name,
Hmm.
or suppose if there are any links, we will use CSS filter,
Hmm.
and we will use link tests or partial link tests
Okay. Okay. How will
in
you
some
take a
projects.
screenshot of the failed test scripts in TestNG?
Fail screenshot.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will use a if condition. I mean, suppose we use in that we will use try catch. In the try catch, we will use a if condition. Suppose if any element is displayed or not displayed, based on
Hmm.
the if condition, it will be pass or else it will be fail. In the catch method, we will use the keep the fail screenshot. In the try catch, in the try method, we will keep the pass screenshot.
Hmm. So which is the interface that you will use here?
What is the interface?
Yeah, yeah. Which is the interface that you will use to take the screenshots of the failed test scripts?
We'll use actually I didn't get it.
Okay, okay. No worries. So let this be an open question for the people who are watching this video. How will you take a screenshot of the failed test scripts in TestNG? Okay. Okay, Shashikant, I am done with the interview. Do you have any
Yeah,
questions for me?
yeah, no question. Is there any feedback
Yeah, yeah,
in
sure, sure.
this art Selenium?